All right, just because I forgot to hit the button, we have to reintroduce Carla. But we hit the button now. So, hello everybody out there. This is Carla. Carla is with CG Schmidt again. She's one of our project engineers and also is very vital in communication with Lila at the front desk, keeping her informed, and really wants to be kind of a resource for you as well. So, you know, outside of the updates that I give out on Thursdays and or Fridays for the construction, a lot of that's coming from her and the CG Schmidt team. So with that, I'll just let Carla kind of give a quick introduction of herself, maybe a little background, and then we can start asking the questions that you have that hopefully we know the answers to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what I do is I just take notes and I get back. So,
Yeah.
all right. take it
Sounds
away.
like you're good at that. All right. Yeah, again, I'm Carla. We're really excited to be here. I got to tell you, all of my colleagues back at the CG Schmidt office are completely jealous of this project that we're on, just because you guys have been so hospitable and everybody's just been really kind. We really appreciate the notes, people saying hi. So I apologize if some of the guys on the project are scowling at you. They're not used to interacting so much with people who are just, you know, kind of excited. So,
Beautiful women.
what's it?
You're all beautiful.
Beautiful women, absolutely, yes. But yeah, I've been in construction now for, well, I grew up in the trades. My dad was an electrician. Then I went off got my degree, went off into the Air Force for 10 years, had 3 kids, and vowed to never move back to Wisconsin, and here I am. So, you know, priorities change as you get older, right? We get smarter, and so I have been with CG Schmidt since November, and they thought I'd be a good fit for this project. So they do a nice job of trying to handpick what the project needs and who can fill that. So, I'm really excited. I've got indoor plumbing. I don't have to use a porta potty. These are the big things.
I already realized that.
I know. So that's where all of my colleagues are really jealous, because they told me I could use the country kitchen, and I was like, "Are you sure?" Because we're lucky if we got a microwave in the job trailer. So yeah. But that's pretty much my background. I'm a Wisconsin grad, so I'm a Go Badgers, and I have 3 kids, 20, 16, and 13. So if you see me hustling out of here, it's probably because I have a soccer game or a track meet or a confirmation practice. I don't know. I got 3 things going on tonight. I was like, whatever. So yeah.
Where did you live before Wisconsin? You came back to Wisconsin?
So right before I came back was Colorado Springs, but
I can see why you didn't want to leave.
well, I mean, there's perks about everywhere, but the weird thing I miss about here is the green grass that feels like carpet. Because that's high desert out there, so it's prickly, nothing really grows well,
So just as kind of an update construction wise, and I'll kind of let Carla add to it, is obviously the abatement is going on in Bradford Terrace. So the abatement has been completed on 2nd floor and half of 1st floor, as well as most of the lobby, the Bradford Terrace lobby, which is why we shut down that entrance for 2 days. The entrance is now back open to the Bradford Terrace parking lot, and that's going to be what it looks like for essentially the remainder of the construction of Bradford Terrace. Obviously, it will be carpeted at some point, and there will be another temporary shutdown once the finishes go in. But essentially, hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll be kind of wrapping up with abatement in about 2 weeks of Bradford Terrace. The demolition, again, has been ongoing, and then hopefully we start putting up walls and things of that nature. So, again, the tentative time frame, I believe, Carla, correct me if I'm wrong, for Bradford Terrace is somewhere in that August-ish time frame to kind of be reopened. And then obviously we have to go through licensure. So licensure is really completely out of CG Schmidt's hands, it's out of my hands, it's out of everybody's hands, it's in the hands of the state of Wisconsin. They have 60 business days to come out and license us. So essentially 3 months is what they give themselves once we get a certificate of occupancy from the city and the state really, but we can't move our residents from Water Tower over there until we get our formal license, and it goes from a life safety survey, making sure our sprinkler heads and all the life safety systems are working, and then they also have to come through with the clinical side and do a programming survey to make sure we have a program that justifies the RCAC or assisted living license. Once we have that, then we can move our residents over. So again, the exciting part for me is you'll actually get to start to see and feel kind of some of that construction and look, because what the Bradford Terrace really opens up into on that first floor is really kind of that initial look of what the common areas that you will see will kind of start to look like. Again, it's not going to be 100% by any means. Obviously, there's going to be furniture and things of that nature that'll change slightly. But overall, I think that's exciting. I know the health center team, as well as our food and beverage team, maintenance, housekeeping, all our staff are very excited as well, because we become a lot more efficient. Because our staff don't have to go and back and forth. So again, I think the staff are looking forward to that. So Carla, anything to add on the Bradford Terrace construction?
I mean, other than the stuff that you guys already know, but we're down to concrete block in the rooms. So all the walls are out. It's nothing but concrete in there. You wouldn't believe it, but the stuff
Do
we
you have a
took in.
plan of what these apartments or rooms are gonna look like over there?
Yeah, yep, we have full architectural plans.
Can you look at them?
Yeah, we don't have them completed from a marketing standpoint. We have the very rough blueprints,
That's mine.
but
For me, not for
yeah,
someone else.
but yeah, we can definitely. I mean, there's 6 2-bedroom apartments that will be in the assisted living. Right now, we have 3, and then we'll have 12 1-bedroom units.
Are they
So
gonna have like kitchenettes like over
Yep.
here?
they'll have kitchenettes, and then obviously each of the floors has a large activity space, own dining room as well. Obviously care stations, storage, things of that nature. And then the third floor also gets a touch. We're demoing 2 rooms on the third floor, which is our memory care, and combining 2 into a larger activity space for our third floor memory care area. So, but yes, we have all the plans, and I can definitely share them with you.
How many members?
It'll be 16 memory care at the end.
Could I ask a question? This might be too
Ask away.
elementary, but what do you mean by abatement?
Abatement is asbestos. Do you know what everybody know kind of what asbestos is? And
Okay.
Yeah.
Carla probably knows more than I. It's a building material that you have to get rid of very carefully and very expensively.
Where is it, the ceilings or the walls,
Yep.
floors?
Yep,
And
it's
they,
in
they
our.
put it in,
So they put it back in the 50s. I think is kind of when asbestos was kind of hitting the height. Then they realized the negative health effects, and obviously when you disturb that, it's obviously fine if it stays in place, but as soon as you disturb it, that's when there's airborne stuff, I think, that happens. And that's why there's been plastic sealed. They're in hazmat suits as they take that out. And it's a very controlled, I'm sure there's been surveyors in and things of that nature as well to make sure they're doing it properly, but they have their own world, essentially. Like CG Schmidt doesn't even do it. We contract with somebody else outside of CG Schmidt. CG Schmidt's not going into that area until it's cleared with air tests and things of that nature.
So you guys don't even need me, you got him, but very common pre-1980s. As most of you know, asbestos was like the dream product. It's fireproof, insulating properties, it's naturally found, super abundant, and crazy cheap. So they used it in abundance. But then towards later, like when Bradford was built, there's nothing in there that's got like 100% asbestos. Less than, it's in the single digits for percentage wise. But as a precaution, you just gotta, so the guys are like, they get all nervous when I walk around because they gotta take clothes off, put different clothes on, and so they're like, you know, make sure Carla doesn't come around. And Carla's been staying very clear away from there. But when they remove that plastic, the only way they can remove that plastic is when there's a clean air test that says that there's 0. But abatement is also, you know, it's anything of hazard. So like some, you know, lead-based paint, So please don't be licking the windowsills. We appreciate that.
Shucks.
No, I'm sorry, but none of that's in here. So anything built past 1980, asbestos is very, very rare. So I shouldn't say, but we ought not have to worry about that here. But in Bradford, yes, it's in that book tile that I sent pictures out last time, that red clay. So it was in there, so they had to get stuff out of the grooves. And then there's popcorn ceilings. Remember how popular that was? There's asbestos in that, and it's used as an acoustical, so as a noise barrier too, and as an insulation property. So it's a great product, just it'll kill you. Yeah, so no big deal. If you inhale too much of it, and so.
I assume they aren't gonna be using those balconies on Bradford, because it'll be the health center and that. What about the doors? Are those sealed off then, or what, do you leave the doors in there, or what?
So we're actually gonna be working with licensing on that to see if we can use the balconies to a
Okay.
degree. They're actually on the first floor of Bradford Terrace. If you remember, right along the parking lot there,
It's fenced in.
we're actually going to be probably adding potentially some concrete there to make it more usable for a patio and an outdoor space for our RCAC or our assisted living residents. But we're really trying to figure out how to get some outdoor space for our third floor residents on some of those balconies. Because right now, the doors do open. We do have staff that can go out there. At times, we'll do some summer plantings and things of that nature outside. But we do not want our third floor residences to be directly accessible to there. So it's got to be a common area door essentially. So that's what we're working through right now. And obviously, the railing right now probably isn't quite tall enough. So again, to be determined there, because again, the exterior spaces. So to your question, Ms. Sundberg, the doors will be sealed where they need to be sealed, and then hopefully be open, obviously a secure that staff have to open, whether that's on a key lock or a fob or something of that nature to access.
We just like them because we can
Yeah,
throw
they
stuff
get
in and
some-
out.
Yeah.
Some breeze
Yeah.
too.
We like
Yeah.
having those balconies up there. It's handy.
Could you put the blueprints out in the hallways so that we could all see it?
Of Bradford Terrace?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basic idea what it's gonna look like. The layout or whatever.
yeah, let me,
How many apartments were there? 12?
16.
There's four twos,
6 twos.
6 twos.
Yeah. So let me check with our architect and with CG Schmidt on what blueprints we can actually share. I'm more comfortable being able to share kind of more of the marketing type plans and floor plans.
That'll help us though.
Yeah.
That's later. That's when it's all done.
No, it's what we're sharing right now with all the depositors over here. So just because there's certain things in those blueprints that get amended and things of that nature. So again, I'll see what I can get you done because I do know that your background would play a large interest into what we're doing. So
Yeah, and the plans that we have obviously are ones that would probably be more confusing than helpful. So I think if we were able to work with the architect to get something that is, with less like, hey, here's a can light going up here, here's the raceways for all the electrical, here's where the plumbing is going, that it can just be some general floor plan that would just be better suited for people who don't have a background too. But we definitely have very complicated drawings of what's leaving and what's going, and stuff's being amended as we speak, because we found stuff and there's changes that are made, which is going to be going on throughout the whole entire. I mean, unless you wanted to add that extra carport, and stuff like that, and now's the time to ask the boss guy here, like, hey, can we get, a couple extra bars in the commons
Yeah.
area, and,
what other questions do you have?
Bradford Terrace was built in the 1960s,
Yes.
and it was the most beautiful structure. Oh, everybody was so impressed. And I had two friends that mothers were there whom I visited, so I did see it.
Oh.
wow.
The new friends now are St. John's.
Yeah, oh.
Shucks, naughty word.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is that it's a very straightforward mid-century modern build. So Frank Lloyd Wright, he was a big influencer during that time, and so to have something like that, you're absolutely right. I'm sure was talk of the town.
Do you have to take out any concrete walls?
Yeah, we're hammering through some concrete. You want to come help? I think we can use some help.
It's a job.
Oh yeah. But with tools nowadays and technology, it's going pretty good. So.
Is the front of Bradford gonna get any facelift of some sort? It looks a little tired. The west side, yeah.
So west side, directionally, Prospect parking lot, yeah. Eric and I were actually talking about that on Tuesday, actually. I think we definitely need to enhance that, because you're right, it does look tired. It's just, what is the right way to go with that? So is it wrapping the concrete in aluminum, so to speak, so you have an aluminum clad finish, painting the the rails on top, also that front door, as you may know, your front door, when I say front door, right in front of Lila, there's 2 front doors. One of those front doors is going away, and we're putting a frosted type of glass with a nice logo piece in there, and potentially maybe we do something like that to enhance that curb appeal as well over in Bradford Terrace. So yes, long story short, yes, it will improve. Don't have the complete answer right now, but yeah, we definitely, Eric and I looked, and yeah, it's tired, and it's not that first impression. I think that we want to match the inside, I think, of what we're going to have. So, the parking lot in and of itself, Segway, is going to get restriped this summer, so that we'll have the yellow lines so that people actually know where to park, which is really neat. Yeah, but that takes a lot of coordination, because we have to shut down a third of the parking lot, a third of the parking lot, a third of the parking lot. And if we take down a third of the parking lot, we can take down what seems like half the cars. So you'll be seeing a memo in that regard. The other memo that you'll be seeing here shortly is your air conditioning units. The maintenance team is going to be going through and just making sure your air conditioning is set for the summer, which apparently Wisconsin decided to flip the light switch yesterday, and we're here. So although we will hit a little cooler weather in next week, it appears. So probably look for that probably as early as next week. That maintenance might be in your apartment for about 20 minutes, just verifying that your AC units are working, that the condensing lines are flushed, the filters are changed, all of those pieces. We want to be a little bit more on the proactive side. Eric thinks it'll take about 2 weeks to get through the contemporary and the historic buildings for the AC, so look for that. And then the last memo is potentially, depending on timing, pressure washing the garage again. So doing a cleaning of the garage. So we actually added to our maintenance staff, filled the last position that's been vacant for about 6 months finally with Michael. So we'll have another new maintenance individual on staff here. Actually started on Tuesday. So we're excited about that. So long story short, I know I took kind of your question about the Bradford Terrace tired and ran into my own. So just wanted to update you on a few memos that you'll probably be seeing in the upcoming
Just helping
weeks.
him out, right?
Yeah.
Is anything going to be happening on the 4th and 5th floor in Bradford?
So the 4th and 5th floor, really, I mean, right now there's something happening with some valves and plumbing that had to get redone. So that's
Is that what they're looking for in the ceiling?
Yes,
Oh.
and so that's what's happening as we speak. Hopefully it's almost done actually. So that, and then also kind of a general update as far as painting and some flooring that needs to just get touched up. But really, I mean, Bradford Terrace was done less than 5 years ago, and so there aren't significant changes to 4th and 5th floor outside of just a few minor, update corridor hallways, refreshing to make it look one. So.
I'm just curious, this is such a huge, exciting project, and as in your position, what are the biggest challenges for you in your job?
Well, I mean, so you think about what do construction workers like to do, right? They like to get in, tear things up, right, and blow through and put things in. Obviously, one of the challenges is making sure that we're creating a safe space first and foremost for you guys too. But I think, and sometimes when you're working with these older buildings, now I find it fascinating, right? Like what's hidden. Obviously that impacts your schedule, it impacts costs. So Tyler maybe not so excited, like, hey, we found asbestos in this closet, you know. But that's a lot when you're working with some of these buildings that, you know, were just built during that time frame that you know have some of these elements in it. But everybody here has been fabulous, like not joking, surprisingly fabulous. We were worried that it was really going to impact, and that there was going to be a lot of concerns from you as the residents. So that's why we want to make sure that we're doing a fair job of communicating to you, letting you know that you're our first and foremost priority, and that we want to make sure you're as comfortable as possible in the most uncomfortable situation, which is renovating your home. But once we get to the water tower and we can get everybody moved and the logistics of all of that stuff, then we're gonna go to town. So we're gonna come in here and take care of water tower, and that should go a little faster. But this is all stuff that was known to us, which is why we have very specific staff. They probably wouldn't have the project engineer that was a hard-nosed, doesn't like to talk to people, you know, kind of on this project, because we knew that this was going to be an element of this. But you guys got top-notch, our project manager, our superintendent. We're constantly asking, how are things going? I mean, Tyler's been putting up with us okay, but you know, he's been tolerating us, but
yeah. I mean, I know that I've shared with you, but CG Schmidt has been an incredible partner through this. I mean, again, we've been engaged with CG Schmidt for well over 6 months by now, on the pre-construction side and things of that nature. But now actually seeing kind of where I call rubber meets the road. You know, they've been incredible in communicating and just working through their process. Obviously, with a 100-year plus history, they kind of know what they're doing at this point and working, and I think that's why they were selected. But also, our architect is still very involved as well, an AG architect who's also very well known, works very well with CG Schmidt. I think, again, from my perspective, along with LCS Development, who's also very involved from a project management standpoint, I think the four of us, four companies, so to speak, are working very well. But you also are playing a vital role in that. And I never want to leave that piece out. I mean, again, we shared with you the dining program, and I think that's really where, again, Carla said, you know, we haven't really heard too much. And so I think, you know, starting June 6th, you know, I'm assuming that we'll have additional meetings and continued updates and continued feedback sessions, because again, I think, as we said yesterday, it's really where the pressure point, so to speak, starts. Not that you haven't been dealing with the Bradford Terrace pieces and all of that, but when we put up that temporary partition starting June 6th and there's changes, I think that's really going to be where, you know, when working with CG Schmidt, to be more even overly communicative with you as residents, to say, hey, this is going to be impacted for this short time period. Like I mentioned, the club room next week, we'll get a little taste of that. You'll see it in the memo. The club room is probably going to be shut down for 8 hours during the day, for about 2.5 days, because we have to prep that area for the continental breakfast. And so when that's happening, you know, obviously the club room will be a construction site. We don't want people in there. But that's something I need to make sure we communicate. Obviously that starts with when CG Schmidt's going to do the work. If they tell me that they're doing the work on Wednesday and they start on Monday, that's where we're going to have a little bit of that. And I think that's where CG Schmidt has done a phenomenal job in being communicative and saying, hey, this is what needs to happen. This is the time frame. This is what will, and then they get it done in that time frame. So yeah.
The cabinets are cleaned out.
Thank you. I heard it from a bird.
I was like,
I heard from a bird
wow.
yesterday that you and Joe were going to take care of that. So thank you so much. My plan was on Saturday. I'm going to be here. to make sure that that was all taken care of. But thank
I
you
was
for
like,
doing my job for me.
that was fast.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Leave it up to Joe.
Yeah. So
How many people from CG Smith are working here and how many will be here in the future?
That is a great question. So I think right now our crew size, I just walked through, we've got about 12 of our guys, but we've got HVAC, plumbing, the fire protection guys were here, the electricians were here. So I'd say we probably have about 25 people right now between second floor and then all the trades right now. When we're over here, we're gonna have, so we've subcontracted, walls, paint, ceilings, flooring, tile. So when we're here, you can think about, we're probably gonna be moving a crew of about 25 through, and then so there's gonna be a demo crew, then there's gonna be, the wall builders, and then there's gonna be the finishes, and then the people installing the chair rails and the finishing touches, and then the carpet's gonna go in, and so it's gonna be busy. But that's the other thing too that we appreciate is that we're still getting started. There's still people that are gonna be new to the project, and so that's where working with Lila, being like, hey, you might accidentally see guys coming in through the front because they're not exactly sure, even though we're trying to communicate where the construction entrance is, and people who are parking, same thing where, we know that some people are gonna park in places that they won't, but we're doing our job to be, and that, obviously we know that those kind of things are gonna happen, as well as little bitty changes. So yeah, we're gonna have temporary partitions go up, but middle of the week we're gonna be like, oh no, we didn't account for this one outlet being in this spot, so we gotta shift things. So when I was in the Air Force, they said the key to air power was flexibility, and that it kind of applies for everything, parenting, construction, sports, but that's where a lot of this stuff is right now. We're still kind of getting new folks on, like next week we're gonna start framing out walls while we have them coming to look at where they're going to frame out the walls, and so that's a new contractor coming in, and then
It takes a lot of coordination.
yeah.
I have a question about the second floor. I do the roof garden up there, and I do need to have access to it during the summer, and I'm just wondering how that's gonna work, because I know you're doing the second floor there too, of contemporary.
So we're gonna put you in a hoist, and we're just gonna.
I was gonna crawl through Carla May's window,
Yeah.
actually, that was my
Should we watch
plan.
Yeah. So
Terry.
so they're not taking down the second floor of the general store, that area, with this phase.
Okay,
So that'll actually be happening in the winter time.
oh, okay.
So
Just for you.
You should be. You
That's
should.
great.
The rooftop garden will be accessible throughout this when the temporary partition goes up.
Okay,
That
great.
space will be available. So,
Okay.
yeah, Mike Brever, the boardroom, the general store, that other place that I don't want to say.
You don't want to bring up.
The salon will.
Oh
Where is that?
Salon will.
End of April salon.
Yeah, the end of April salon. Good thing April lasts for another 8 weeks.
Maybe CG Smith could
Yeah.
solve that problem.
Carla, do you do hair?
I could try.
Yeah.
I'll use power tools. I don't know.
Yeah. So the salon, unfortunately, they didn't communicate with me. I didn't realize that the licensing that was put in 3 weeks ago is a 12-week process. So July. The April salon will open in July. So that's that's completely on me. I apologize. I definitely thought licensing was not going to take that long. I felt that, and they were also thinking that they had been here once before. Our salons obviously did not change. They figured they could just basically put in like a renew, so to speak. But actually with the break, they have to go, licensing is making them go all the way back through the licensing process. So that is also state regulated. Your salons are state regulated, so we have to walk through those steps. So yes, but the rooftop garden will be open all summer.
We
General
got you on the
store.
rooftop garden.
So
But if
and
you
then-
need a hoist, we can
Yeah.
get you up there.
I could do it.
So yeah, and then obviously the boardroom is one area that I know isn't the most conducive space, but that is available for residents as well. So if you're having your smaller committee meetings or something of that nature, I know that the club room, Lindsay Hall, those are going to be very active spaces. But if you just need a group of 8 or so, that space is available, and you can just let Lila know at the front desk, hey, I need the boardroom on this date for an hour.
Okay.
We'll reserve it out and it's all yours. So there are some standing reservations in there, of course, but even those, those have been shifting. So I just want to make sure, again, I think space right now we know is going to be kind of at a premium starting in June with the dining room going offline and Lindsay Hall becoming more of that temporary dining space, into your courtyard going down as well. So we'll just want to work through that, and get creative with the different spaces, like this space. And also I mentioned yesterday in my meeting, if your meetings are usually Tuesday, Thursday, and it's a large group and you usually use Lindsay Hall, can you move the committee meeting to a Monday or a Friday? Because again, that will be available. And obviously Saturday, Sunday, Catholic Mass has priority. That's not until the afternoon, and then Pastor Epley's service is at 2:00 in the afternoon on Sunday. So if there's morning get-togethers or anything like that, and also if you need a table or chairs up in the, I know they mentioned the historic lounge is here, up in where the 4th floor I think does their happy hour. We can put up some additional tables and chairs up there. You just need to let us know what you're looking for. My goal would not to be to put them up and take them back down every time. It'd be something more standard. But again, if for some reason you're doing something more unique and it's a one-time thing, let us know. We'll try to work with you as best as possible.
I have one more question.
Yes.
The most fascinating thing to me is that all that dirt you're gonna move, do you have any idea what's under there or what you're facing, or is it all a mystery? And how is it gonna be done? And when?
Oh, the
Into your courtyard.
The courtyard. Well, so we are not 100% sure how we're going to get the equipment in there, but I'm going to tell you that we've been talking about that for
I bet.
6 months now, because we knew that once we saw the space, but we're going to be able to get something in there, and we're going to bring the big trucks in. So
When is this gonna be?
the courtyard is scheduled for
June. Again, not right away in June, but that's when it'll go down.
And is
So look at this,
any
this is our
drilling gonna be
schedule
done
here.
So that you know what's under there? Or do
Didn't you scan that? The upper level of the interior courtyard?
What's in there?
Right, what's in there, I believe they scanned.
Yeah,
it.
they did scan it, but I
Yeah.
don't know what the
So they used a scanner
Yeah.
to really look what's under there, and they haven't told me that anything's, so,
Dirt.
dirt,
Give us all a shovel.
This summer.
Go out.
lots of dirt.
gonna
A lot of dirt.
Probably the rubble from the previous building that was in there.
What?
Do you think so?
Well, I think so, they had that was a theater out there,
Really?
and there was a tunnels underneath.
Yeah,
that
that's
went to,
what I heard, the tunnel.
to Bradford Terrace, so
Sewage.
you might get some
what do you got
surprises.
going on here?
Yeah, there was a tunnel from historic to Bradford Terrace
We
because.
did hear about that.
Oh.
My
I think-
assumption is it's clean fill underneath there. 'Cause that was done, how long ago was that done?
Probably 2006.
Yeah, so then it was,
So,
so there's a lot of regulations about, so the DNR, right, they don't want dirty fill, they don't want dirty dirt.
Well, yeah.
So in 2006, like that would have been regulated. So my assumption is that there's clean fill under there, but
You guys
the
then too, Stuart, were you the construction company for that too?
I'm sorry, what was
The
it?
2006, whatever you did, is that when, did you do that, your company do that?
No.
I was gonna say, I don't think we.
2006 was not done by C.G. Schmidt. AG was the architect. Trying to think who the construction company was.
Well, the architect should know.
The architect doesn't know, and we know as well. I just have to go down to Eric's office and look at the plan, and I'm blanking
That's
on
not
it.
important,
But
I just thought that if you had done it before, then.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Well, that would be ideal.
Yeah.
But, so we're
For
hoping
anybody
to
so
be for the
interested
future,
in
you
it,
know.
I think you could sell tickets.
yeah, I know.
but I know how they
Groundbreaking
do
for the groundbreaking.
things sometimes.
Sure,
Could
yeah.
we move on to the contemporary dining room and so on?
Mhm.
The same thing with the plans, I'd like to see plans of all that area, what that's gonna look like. And you have shown us some kinds of things, but eventually the ones that we had drawings and so on, how it would look, the barn and all that, but that was way, way early. And I'm not sure those didn't have any, if those are still there, or if that's been changed a lot, I really don't know.
Yeah.
The other question I have is, the interior decorators came here early on, and when they came, one of their people spent a day going through all of our furniture that's in the hallways and so on, and all the paintings on the wall. And she was gonna decide which ones they wanted to keep, to use, and which ones they would not wanna use. And have you heard anything more about what happens to the ones they don't wanna use?
So the ones that they don't want to use will be back in our possession, and we can do with them what we would like. And by we, us collectively. They're East Castle property. So again, it's, do we want to? Again, the art piece is coming together. You'll be given a notice here shortly for those that are interested in the artwork around the contemporary building of what we're looking for, what to repurpose, what to reutilize. So that'll be forthcoming. Same thing with, there's a couple pieces of furniture that we'll be using in Bradford Terrace as well, and a few to help kind of mesh the contemporary and historic with the Lake Terrace as well as your new first floor. So, but the paintings or the artwork, so to speak, that they do not select or use will come back to us, and then we can put that up. I know that some residents have voiced if we could put it in the contemporary hallways as well as some of the historic hallways, if there's the right pieces, because those hallways really don't have too much artwork. So that could be a repurpose of it, but
Yeah.
does that answer your question, Don?
Partly. Some of that art may be Wisconsin art,
Mm-hmm.
that ones that say given to by a resident or whatever.
Yeah.
And some of those might be pretty nice
Very
pieces,
valuable.
and nobody would even know what they are. I think you should have somebody come in who knows Wisconsin art and have them just look them all over and say, this is garbage, this is garbage, this is a print, that there's millions of those out there, just throw them away, and at least they can help you cull them down to the good ones.
Basically, we need an appraiser, right?
Yeah, maybe appraiser, but appraiser is, I think, too specific, because she's
Okay.
gonna wanna look at each piece and tell you, charge you $100 to look at it.
Ah,
I'm
you're
saying somebody
saying,
who knows Wisconsin art could just walk through and say, this is garbage, this is
right,
garbage.
this one might be worth something,
Yeah.
then we go to the
Or they may
appraiser.
say, I don't even know that
Contact
one.
Wisconsin Museum Art, maybe. Well,
Yeah,
they're-
doesn't Pat
Yes.
Crump, didn't she work as a curator up in a museum? She
Joe-
may
I
be,
think Joe did too.
Joe did too, so okay, I'll
Well,
source some of our,
Wisconsin, Lori, I can't remember her last name right now, but she's, she's all about Wisconsin. art.
okay,
We've been in a gallery too, in West Bend, where the guy is a pretty
yeah,
good guy.
yeah.
And so Rick is his name.
Rick?
Anyway,
Rick on site.
I forgot his last name. Anyway,
But he
Rick.
works up in West Bend?
Right, yeah, now he doesn't have a store at all, but he works from his home basically. But he sells a lot online, and I think he knows a lot about Wisconsin art. And he'd be able to walk you through there and tell you that which ones are really Wisconsin art and which ones are
Okay.
something else.
Some is really valuable.
It might be, I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know if the two paintings on the wall are reprints or if that's, I doubt they're originals, but maybe they
I think they're prints.
are, so.
When your demo team comes in, do they recycle any of that stuff, like to Habitat for Humanity or anything like that, or does it just all go in the dumpster? Any of the cabinets and
Like doors and
things
so on.
And like those cabinets are coming out, there's a very good cabinets, you can donate.
Yeah, I know,
those.
like those. Yeah, those are nice cabinets. I know that those are probably going to a good home. I know that they're not going in the dumpster.
What are they
Where they're-
called? Good home?
What's that?
What did you call? Where are they going?
They're gonna go to a good home. So I was
Good
told this morning that there's people interested in cabinets like that.
Sure.
But
And we also opened it up to all of our staff members and families before Bradford Terrace was taken down. They could come in, and I know a lot of our maintenance guys actually took a lot of the cabinets, refrigerators, furniture, things of that nature, We do have some just in storage as well, that if we don't find a place for it, it'll probably go down to the resident treasure chest for reuse. And I also know that, again, there was a number of college homes, I think, that got furnished. So again, we did open it up more to our employees and staff. And then really the things that were left, really things you probably, Habitat for Humanity probably wouldn't take. In a large part, I can't say everything. But again, I think we made like a couple, over $500 on, I mean, again, we priced the refrigerators for like $25, just grab and go. Sure. But then that all went back into, the East Castle Place Fund and for scholarships and things of that nature. So that's more so from the Habitat for Humanity piece that we did ahead of them. And then what's ever left in there is kind of
Can't think of the new person on third floor, second floor. Anyway, she's involved with Casa Maria, and she was talking about
Hackles.
Hackle, yeah.
Oh.
That they take things that are not, they're not as fussy about what
Okay.
they take. That they
That's good to know. Because again, we're gonna have obviously furniture coming out of the front desk area, the bistro area, the dining room. If the private dining room, has those cabinets and those pieces of art in there, those will all have to come out, whether we store them. Obviously, we're gonna repurpose some of the tables into Lindsay Hall and things of that nature. We may store a few as well, but again, that's good to know. You said,
Yeah, I've seen stuff in the dumpster that could go on to somebody.
Yeah, and I mean, that, obviously we try at every turn.
Yeah, I don't, not you, this is before, just coming
Yeah, and,
residents, so.
but some of it's, the time of trying to find the right place to go and then schedule impact, and then as well as, in case you guys didn't know, there's not a lot of storage around here. Unless we can put some stuff in units, I'm just kidding. But we definitely are committed to whenever, because we equally are very involved in the community as CG Schmidt. So if there's something that we can do to repurpose, I mean, especially this day and age, like doors, hot commodity right now. Doors, yeah. But yeah, they are expensive. So we got somebody for our estimating team, right?
yeah.
Yeah. so, but yeah.
Tyler, you had mentioned at one time that some of the patio furniture was going to be replaced that we had out there. Would that be, a table and chairs be available for sale to residents?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, did we get the patio furniture in the interior courtyard for a little bit? I asked Eric to put out some of the furniture and then also in the gazebo courtyard. So that'll be happening this week, hopefully by tomorrow at the latest, so that we can start enjoying that and enjoy the interior courtyard for the time that we have with it.
There's a nice group out there right
Yeah,
now.
Yeah, is
from
there?
the
Okay,
health center,
perfect.
yeah.
So again, and then we'll add some of that to the gazebo courtyard, but then we will buy new patio furniture when the interior courtyard reopens for it. So, but when it is available, absolutely, we'll make it available. What else? What other questions do you have? Was this helpful? Was it nice to so question for the group, would you be open, or what do you think the reception would be if, for instance, Carla kind of did a similar construction update once a month? Obviously moving forward with this, you'll see the weekly updates, but maybe we tag in Jordan or something like that too, so you can start to meet some of the folks that you're going to see. Would that be helpful? Would you like that?
Yes, do you have time? 'Cause
For you guys, we'll make time. Well, and I mean, and I'm serious about that, because you guys could, if you're not comfortable or happy, like, you stop the project. I mean, but so we want to make sure. I mean, I shouldn't say stop, but you have a huge impact on, if you go to Tyler and or feel like you're not informed about something, and we have to get things straightened out. So we're trying our best to be proactive, and so this is part of it. And I work with dirty guys, so to be able to come in and present, and I'm real proud of what we're doing, right? I'm real proud of what we're doing, and you know, we're taking pictures all the time of, you know, concrete walls now, and, you know, just kind of making sure we're documenting what's happening. But yeah, I mean, once a month is absolutely no problem. Every day, yeah, I probably like that might be a problem, but I think once a month, you know, we could really kind of give you some showcasing as to what's going on. But I appreciate you being
That would
considerate.
be good because there are a lot of rumors going around.
Say it ain't so.
Oh, that's awful.
Say it ain't so.
We don't have those. Right?
I thought that only happened in middle school, darn it.
No, I usually hear it third hand, but I always like to hear it straight from the individuals. 'Cause again, you know my stance on rumors. I don't like them. Again, this is your home. I think you should be informed as much as you can be and need to be. At the same time, you know that I always say I like my job here and have one for you to do, so you don't have to worry about that. But at the same time, if there's questions, if there's rumors, if there's things that you want to know, by all means, definitely let me know. But yeah, if we can include CG Schmidt, hear it straight from the construction's perspective, I think that's also helpful. You know, I think, you know, CG Schmidt, again, has a number of resources and individuals, and I think once a month is probably doable. Given a setting, you know, given our time frame, and you know, maybe it's Carla for the full hour, and then we just kind of sift people in, and we go from there. So.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to say too, the other thing, in our meetings, I was talking to the subcontractors when you guys had your food truck out here. They're like, we're invited, you know. So I'd say, you know, just we're gonna try to get out there, but we're just not used to this level of, you know, kindness, I guess, and interaction from you guys. So we do appreciate you guys and your encouragement, because I mean, construction sometimes is very underrated, right? You walk into a building and you never think about how was this built, right? Or wow, look at these finishes. But it's all everything's touched, you know, by a human hand, and that's what these guys are doing. And they're just, you know, they just nose to the grindstone, and they want to do good quality work because there's a lot of pride in what they're doing. But it's also important for us to know, like, there are real people that we're building this for. There's not that we forget that, but I just want to compliment everybody. It's really not common on a construction site. And for those of you who have been part of construction projects, you know that it's just get the project done. But having that little extra, like, that you guys are cheering us on is it's a big. They're all like, this is weird. So I think it's
guys
gonna
come into the treasure chest the other day,
Oh, really?
a couple of weeks ago, and that I would encourage that.
Sure.
well. What you all got?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Wow, you got a lot of nice
Well,
stuff
like
there.
I said, I mean, just you know, he offered a microwave, and we were like, what? Really? We can have this microwave? Like, that's great. So, you know, it's just
I wasn't
little
gonna
stuff
use
like
it,
that.
But they would be welcome to do that.
But
sort of
it's
thing.
not typical, and that's what I'm
No,
saying, is
yeah.
that that's not typical of a job site and of a client even. Usually it's, you know, dirty construction people, you guys do dirty construction.
Oh, no.
We'll
No.
stay over here and watch you type of thing. But it's been a real pleasure, you know, bless you. It's been a real pleasure, and so I've, you know, looking forward to getting to know all of you guys. But I would just say, you know, route feedback in the place that it belongs. If you guys want to put a jacuzzi tub in your unit, you know, I would love to install that, but this is the guy that makes all the
Anything can be done, I'm sure. Just how much is it going to cost
It's gonna take
you,
money.
right?
So, and everybody's been really good about it. So.
Well, I did hear that Bradford Terrace, upper floors, that they put in 2 little toilets. I hope that won't occur.
Oh, on 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a little bit different project this go around. I will say that. So I think we've, you know, I know that there's something that we've missed. There has to be in this complex of a project that we'll find and then we'll fix after the fact. But yeah, hopefully some of those general things we will.
Especially most of us are probably going to go under at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yep.
We're
We've probably all been through it once or twice.
Yep.
Oh, building, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean,
Build a
like,
house,
you know,
yeah.
everybody understands it's a process, but at the end, I mean, I'm excited to celebrate
Mhm.
with you guys too, so.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Sure
Thank
nice to hear we're so nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe I can't speak for everybody. Yeah, no, it is, it's been, everybody, Maureen, everybody, it's been,
We're all critics too.
yeah, I mean, we're expecting it. We gotta keep us on our toes, right? You know, we have to be accountable and we're gonna make mistakes, but you guys are gonna be the ones that are gonna help us catch some of them too, so.
Already have.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Tyler, this is the guy that
My son
Oh.
door,
Ricardo.
he's in a clown watch.